A good night of Shabbos. This week's Torah portion is a very timely Torah portion. Every Torah portion is timely, for by divine providence the Torah portion is being read during this week. And since the world was created through Torah, so the world reflects whatever the lesson of Torah is during that week. During this week, we observed the elements of people trying to intimidate others by bringing together mobs. And through bringing mobs, they want to go ahead and to impose their will upon individuals and to cause individuals to cower. We know that this is what happens in tyrannical regimes. The reason why this country has resisted tyranny is because of the independence that people feel and the willingness to fight for that independence. Even if a tyrant were to try to overtake the country, enough guns and enough individuals exist who will fight passionately for their freedom. This is not an accident. This comes from the insurance that God has placed within this country. Since this country is supposed to be the repository, the place where God will allow goodness to flow for the rest of the world, and ultimately this shall become the haven for the study of Torah. So this country had to become a tolerant country, a country that allowed differences of opinion and differences of religion. The problem that exists is that the freedoms of the country are being taken for granted and twisted out of context. There is no freedom from religion. There is a freedom of religion. There is no freedom of not being confronted by things that you don't like. This is what the young who go to the universities, they do not wish to be subject to ideas that they don't like, and therefore they will fight those ideas. The basis of that particular kind of attitude is the attitude that we wish to foist our beliefs upon everybody else, even if it runs contrary to those people's beliefs. There is a battle going on. There's a battle against the religious principles of people and people's beliefs that there are certain standards of decency that you cannot violate. The Torah is very, very clear. Marriage is between a man and a woman. The fact that people say that they're married because they're married to people, partners of the same sex, does not necessarily translate into a blessing from God. And in fact, those who would perform same-sex marriages are violating the Torah, violating the principles upon which God has ordained is proper behavior. This is not new. Homosexuality, bestiality, all different kinds of sexual violations, violations of the standards of decency, violations of adultery and incest. These are things that existed before. And the Torah says you have to create a society where human sexuality is not just for pleasure. It is there for procreation, for continuity. And in that same vein, the Torah prohibits the murder of the unborn. Abortion is a violation of the Torah, of God's law. those who promote abortion promote also sexual deviation. They also wish to have those people who believe in certain standards, that they should accept the standards that they wish against their religion. It's a continuous, it is a single battle against the values that have come down from the Torah. And mob rule tries to force people to accept their rule. And that's what happened in the time of Noah. The mob intimidated others. There was only one individual who refused to be intimidated, and that was Noah. He might not have cared for the rest of the community, and for that reason he is criticized. But he had the nerve to stand up for what he believed was correct. He was not intimidated by the mob, and this is his portion. He survives and the mob doesn't survive. Then there's a second episode of the mob, and that's the story of the Tower of Babylon. At the Tower of Babylon, what people wanted to do was to live in unity. There should be a homogeneous belief system where people would all get along and live together with a singularity. There should be no deviation. And everybody would get along because there was an equal outcome. This was going to be socialist utopia. The problem with socialist utopia is that they don't want to bring God into the equation. And the Torah says that when you don't bring God into the equation, then the slightest deviation will cause problems to erupt and people to suspect each other and eventually break up this supposed unity. The supposed unity of the left, the supposed unity of those who are anti-Israel, the supposed unity of those who are anti-religion, the supposed unity of those who are pro-abortion on demand, the supposed unity of those who think that it is cool to do every kind of deviant sexual behavior and give those legitimacy. They're all one group, supposedly, but there are many groups. And since they are many groups, they have many interests that will conflict with each other. The Torah says, God will change their language, and they will begin to suspect each other, and the supposed unity will unravel, and they will become separated and conflict with each other and repel each other. This is what we're seeing unravel today. The various components of all of these groups that supposedly were going to take power is unraveling. It's unraveling because of the way they handle themselves and the way they speak. And these things are being shown to people that you cannot accept them or be intimidated by them or trust them. And the end result will be that they once again will fail, and fail very badly, and then blame it on God, guns, in religion. And the Torah says, tough. God is here to stay. You must obey.